Welcome to the Ranch and Table Podcast, where we discuss all things related to our Texas ranch and our Ranch to Table restaurant located in downtown Rockwall. I'm your host, Lee Wells. Welcome, everybody. Today, it's a great day, and I'm excited to have my friend with me. This is also a colleague with me. Jared Guynes is here, and man, it's glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for pronouncing my name right. I think a lot of people maybe have only seen it on a screen, so It is pronounced Guynes, and it's refreshing to hear someone just nail it first try.
Well, we've worked together for, what is it, 4 years, 4.5 years?
Coming up on 5 years in the spring.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't even particularly aware of, but then I think you asked me, and I went back and pulled the records, and I believe it would have been in the spring, about March or April or so of 2019. So we're coming up on 5 years.
So that would have been 6 months after opening the burger place.
And I was a customer first.
You were.
I've got the records and the receipts to prove
You were. You know, it's interesting you bring that up. I saw you come in. We talked as you came in the first few times, and of course I knew what you did at that time. And I thought, you know what, I'm not going to ask him to work for me. I'm not going to do that. It's going to have to organically happen.
Yeah.
Or it's not going to happen at all. And so that was interesting how it all did kind of unfold. I don't know if you remember or not, but you were just eating a burger one day, and I'm like, hey, you actually, I think we just kind of said it at the same time or something.
That's a good point to remind me, because I was even thinking, I can't remember how it happened.
Yeah.
Because it's been half a decade now. But I don't remember how it happened.
So you had come in several times. You had already given a 4.5 star review.
You can give halves?
Well, you said it. It was a 5 star, but it said 4.5 stars. And so, and it was a nice write-up. No negativity. I couldn't figure out where we missed a half star there. Yeah. But cool. So you came in and we several times. I don't remember the number, but several times. And, and the family and the kids, and it was fun. Well, it happened just one day. We started talking about business and how's business and marketing. I think at that time I had a different company that was answering reviews, and they had sent in a photographer. Anyway, and I was like, you know what? They're not local. They
were disconnected. I remember that.
Yeah, they don't get me. They don't get what we're doing. And I said, if y'all ever had any time in your schedule to look at maybe doing this, and that's kind of how we got started.
Oh, I see.
And then you're like, well, we don't take on just everyone who asks. And I'm like, all right, big time me for a little while.
I didn't mean it like that. I just, I think that you need to believe in what you're selling.
You should.
And that, if you just say yes to everyone, and, we're not a marketing vending machine. I think that anyone who sells marketing or teams up with a small business to help them out should authentically and genuinely believe in what they're selling.
And, that's what sold me on asking you guys to partner was you said that. You said, we don't just take everybody. And I said, well, then how do we stack up or something like that? Would you consider it? And you were like, great product.
Yeah.
We love the place. And then that's kind of how we got into it. So
I see.
That was almost, that's been a few years.
That was a ride, especially the pandemic, man. I'll never, ever forget that. And just how much ingenuity we had to all figure it out together, not just from the marketing, communications, and operation side, but the public was figuring out, well, how do they even buy it? Do they got to wait outside? Do we drop it off in a bag or whatever? It was just such a weird time. It's almost like a daydream or like a weird nightmare or something.
I would say nightmare more than a dream, but yeah.
But it's just kind of a haze in my mind. Did that actually happen?
Well, I think it was developing so fast. We were making day-to-day decisions.
Yeah.
Okay, what's coming up next? What are they going to shut down next?
Didn't we have raw potatoes?
We did. We did a
uncooked potatoes at Wells Cattle Company.
So what we did is we actually sent home different meals. You could go buy a whole meal. So there was a meatloaf meal.
Yeah.
And the meatloaf meal, we did the green beans seasoning and all that for you, but you got potatoes to cook at home.
Yeah.
And then we threw in a roll of toilet paper with every
This is
order.
classic stuff. Yeah, a
every
roll
order.
of toilet paper with every order.
Yeah, and I
Only in 2020.
and that's the only time it would ever make sense. So that was a marketing. We shot a video.
You know,
remember?
Yes.
We shot a video, and I said, "Hey, and your meal comes." And I held up I got to find this video sometime. It's something about it comes with a roll of toilet paper, and it was a hit.
Oh, I loved it.
Everybody loved that online and came in. One of the coolest things that ever happened during that time is I had several people come up to me and say, "We're not going to let anything happen to you. We're here. We're going to keep coming." I had people come in and say, "We've actually scheduled to be in local restaurants every night to come order from everyone we want to keep open."
Yeah.
And they were behind us. I had one guy come up and say, "How's it going? How you doing? How you making it?" And I said, "We're good." And he said, "No, really." He said, "If you need an interest-free bridge loan,"
Wow.
he said, "just ask." I mean, that was a really cool thing in the middle of a crazy, unfortunate
That just
time.
speaks to the Rockwall County community and this entire ecosystem. And it's not even just at Wells, but like there was a lot of consumers and people in the community that were going out of their way to support small businesses and spend maybe an extra generously locally to really help out those mom and pops and owner operators. And, isn't it crazy how when there's a tragedy or something unexpected that a lot of good comes out of it? I remember after 9/11, the United We Stand and people opening up doors for each other and just being kind. And there was about a good 6 or 12-month period there after those attacks where everyone was just kind of unified and we're all just like Team America for a little while. And it sucks what happened to get us there, but I really like that sort of community, let's all take care of each other kind of feeling. And in the midst of the pandemic, I felt a lot of people, once we realized that it wasn't imminent doom and destruction like we thought in the first week or two,
Right.
to see the community come out and support all the small businesses and go above and beyond to wait at the curb and just have empathy and patience and work with them, that was actually kind of a beautiful thing. And now that things have normalized, some of that's gone away.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss it.
Yeah. People are back to being jerks.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody.
No, not everybody.
It was a beautiful thing, and I don't want to go through it again.
No.
But we won't have any choice. Life happens. Life just happens,
Yeah.
right? And so there'll be another opportunity for people to step up, I'm sure, at some point. And that is a great thing about humanity. You really do get down to caring for each other, and it's hard to get there sometimes.
I think that you probably have really gotten a kick out of how many people you've gotten to meet running your restaurant and being in there and being in a retail facing, major roadside building. That's completely different than being on a horse or in a tractor out on the pasture doing what
sure.
you've done most of your life. Now you're over here dealing with hundreds or thousands of people in a week and hearing all their opinions and feedback and everything. And you're a people personally. Like, how much have you enjoyed being able to be amongst the people like this?
Oh, well, I love it. I love people in general. I love talking. I love talking. I could stop. I could put a period there. I love talking. One day, we were closing, and my mom comes over and she says, "I have never seen anybody talk as much as you talked today." She said, "You talked from open to close without stopping." And when you love what you're doing, it doesn't even feel like work. And when you're around people that are appreciative of you and you appreciate them, that mutual admiration and appreciation really does foster some amazing relationships and conversations. I mean, genuine care that comes out of those relationships. And that's one of my favorite things about owning a restaurant. Of course, we wanted to have good food. We wanted to produce, the best burger that we could and the sides and the desserts. And we really do work hard on that. But kind of one of those unknown surprises that comes about is getting to know the people. It's amazing.
Don't take any criticism from your mom quite too seriously, because when she says you talk more than anyone I know, she's known you since like day one, second one. She was right there on the spot. She's been observing you ever since.
Yeah.
So she might be a little hard on you.
Yeah, she knows. And I told her, right back, you held your own today yourself. You did a lot of talking yourself, Mom. So, Anyway, it was good. It was a good.
Maybe
moment.
we're not allowed to disclose, and maybe it doesn't matter. But I guess we can agree that Mama Wells has been around a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
She's older than I am for sure.
Fair, I would hope so.
Right. She's been there all my life.
However old she is, and again, it doesn't matter. I don't know of too many people who are up there in age who work as consistently and as hard as your mom does. Seriously. And, you'll see people that get the sort of, the gimme job of like Walmart greeter or whatever. And it's fine. I'm happy to see anyone have a job.
Sure.
But like, they're not like really hustling because they don't have to. No one expects them to because, they made it. They should be retired. They're just over here just doing a job. But like, your mom really works. Like, she's carefully taking down distinct orders with little things like an onion missing or a special variation of ketchup or something like that. And she's doing it and running the counter up there. And I think it's a shock a lot of times. People come around the corner and see Mama Wells running the register, and that's what she does.
She loves it. She loves doing it. We have recently, in the last year, reworked the schedules so she works less hours. Just because of her age and what she wants to do. She is retired, and she doesn't.
No one looking at her.
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't have to work, but she loves it. She loves the people as well, and the relationships and talking and all of the stuff that goes with it. And so she doesn't do well. She's like me. We're similar, I guess. Mom and I, we don't do well sitting at home not doing anything, and one of the biggest blessings for her in the restaurant is being able to stay active and upright, moving, doing, and it's working out great for her.
If there was such a restaurant that had my last name stamped into the bun with a cattle brand, I'd want to hang out and work the register at that restaurant. That'd be the coolest thing. Say, oh, my boy came up with a hamburger with his own name on it.
She loves it.
That was cool. And by the way, I don't know if we'll get there in today's conversation or which direction it's even going, but the day that you decided to put that stamp on the bun was a milestone moment in the marketability, the Instagrammability, and the market recognition that your product was getting by putting that logo right on top of the bun. That was a turning point because I remember when it didn't have it.
It was. And a quick story about that, whenever it came from a bad review is really where that came from. I got a bad review. They were trying to be as nice as possible, but they weren't very nice. And it was a lower star review. I don't remember if it was a 1 or 2. And they said, your burgers are too good to go in a bag. And I thought, okay, well, you didn't give other burger companies a hard time for putting their burgers in a bag.
No, just you.
Just me. And that's kind of the way it goes. That's you have to deal with it. And then I got home that night and I thought, you know what? Fine. You don't want it in a bag? All right, I'll do something different. And I began to lay out the eco trays, the paper goods that would match with the fry cup. And I had seen a branded bun on the internet a few years ago, and I thought, you know what, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we've seen them randomly, I'm sure, other places, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna put my name on that, and I'm gonna build this look.
Yeah.
To where it's not in a bag, and it was amazing. People started taking a picture before they ate their burger, and then of course posting that on Facebook or
that's it.
Checking in. It's that organic marketing at work, and I was hoping that would happen. That's why we spent the money to buy the trays and buy the different paper goods, and taking the time to do the stamping. Somebody said the other day, the branding. Someone said the other day, do you really do that, or do you have the bun factory do it?
The bun factory
or the bakery do it? And I said no. And I posted a video. It's on our TikTok and a couple places of one of our guys
stamping it,
branding each bun, and we do every single bun that goes out, even the hot dog buns.
They even get a little side stamp.
They do.
You get a little side stamp. It's right when Lee was stamping the buns is when he was thinking, man, I'm glad my name isn't Williamsburg or Guten Smug.
It would just have to be a W.
Just like 15 letters. It's like, darn it, Mom.
Wells
just stamping the world's largest
Wells
cattle
fits
brand.
fine.
You got lucky.
Out. You know what else happened is we were Wells Cattle Co., and it turned out people just started calling us Wells.
Oh.
Well, when we redid our signage out front, we had a sign that was Wells Cattle Company Burgers or Wells Cattle Company Restaurant and Market. It was a long name. We went with just Wells, and we used the bun outline, like the bun, and then the way that brand kind of rubs and touches the edge, a square edge, and that's what our logo has become. Just again, organically became. It wasn't planned, but now we're known as just a simpler name, and everyone just calls us Wells. So that's how it came about.
For those viewers just now tuning in, this is Lee Wells, and my name is Jared Guynes. We're discussing the backstory and history of the iconic burger stamp at Wells Cattle Company in Rockwall, Texas. Thank you for joining in today.
Thank you, announcer Jared Guynes.
Well, I'm just excited. There's all kinds of little details. We'll never be able to cover them in an episode, but there's a lot of just details and things that I've seen that you've learned through iterations and some R&D, some trial and error. And the version of Wells that we're getting today is, in fact, your best effort. It's your best version, and it's not an accident either. It's based on feedback. It's based on real reviews. It's based on you going to New Mexico and trying green chilies in their native habitat and coming back and making adjustments. Like Wells in the end of 2023 really is as good as you can possibly have made it. But when you zoom back, there's Wells in a white paper sack. Mm-hmm. There's Wells in a brown paper bag. There's Wells in weird wrappers and other versions, earlier versions, like, pre-prime Wells, like, beta Wells or whatever, back before you did any expansions or anything, and you just took over that place kind of as is. And I was there, and that's something I try to do, honestly, is that when any new eatery or business comes into Rockwall County, I just want to walk in and try them out. I really do. And I want to give them a fair shake and take some photos and see if I can write a story to kind of, introduce them to the community a little bit. It's just something I do because I get a kick out of it. Mm-hmm. I like walking into a place and taking pictures and writing a little story about it. And I always have. And that's honestly why I was there, back in, 2018, mm-hmm. right, when you opened. Yeah. Because just as a means of public interest, if a new place is opening in Rockwall County, I want to walk in there and eat the food and try it out. And now, there's been many times I did this and it wasn't good. That doesn't get posted. Mm-hmm. So I try to intentionally keep the content that I share positive or uplifting or upbeat.
And that's fair to the people.
Yeah, I mean, some people would argue that the truth's the truth, the good truth, the bad truth's all the truth. What I would say is that if the truth is bad, that isn't necessarily something I need to vocalize out on my platform to so many people. That needs to be private feedback I need to share with the owner or with mm-hmm. the management so they can make adjustments internally, and I'll give them a second shake. Mm-hmm. But I don't want anyone to think of me and my name and my brand as, here to hurt anybody or tear anyone down. It's quite the opposite, actually. So I want everyone to do better. And if I can just go have dinner like anyone and take some pictures and take 20 minutes to write a little story, and that helps, I feel good about that. I feel like it's a little bit of a civil, a civic give it back. I don't know.
And everybody appreciates that. I mean, you have to appreciate that care and concern coming from a stranger. I mean, you're not on staff. You're not being hired to do that. You're not being paid to do that. You just enjoy doing it. You can tell by the number of reviews that you have that you enjoy reviewing.
Yeah, hundreds.
So that's just, I think anybody with a brain would realize that that's just something you enjoy and it's fun to you, even though some give you a hard time about it. But they think they're just convinced that you have somehow been compensated for every one of those reviews. And that
comes with the territory, I think.
Human nature and stuff.
As I was looking up some of the sort of historic images of Wells from 2018 and 2019, I saw some very strange photos of the receipts. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why would I have taken photos of the receipts? And I remembered. I said, because if challenged to say that I was compensated or comped the food in exchange for a review, I wanted to be able to have a timestamp receipt that matched the date of the review so I can shut them down. Mm-hmm. And for a while there, I started taking pictures of the receipts and documenting the transaction So that way, if anyone wanted to come in and say, aha, you're getting paid I was like, actually, I paid them. But that kind of has gone to the wayside these days. I think most people, have figured out either that I'm really trying to do something good, and the people who don't believe it have long since blocked and moved on.
Yeah.
And they don't see my stuff anyways.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, some people bless you by coming into your life.
That's okay.
And some people bless you by leaving your life.
That's okay.
They're both blessings.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed working together with you on marketing and the discussions over. Nobody else hears. The here's what's coming up. Let's look at a launch plan for this. Let's figure out how to make this work where people can recognize what's going on, get involved, come in, see that they like it, whatever it is. We just did one this week. We just launched a new product this week on the menu, the loaded Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
And man, the cheese pull on that y'all got on that video.
Did you see it?
It's amazing.
We got more content of that we haven't released yet, but
I may slide one in post on here for people to see.
See what we're talking about?
Beautiful that
Look at your screen right now. Look at your screen right. Look at that cheese pull. Isn't that great?
Whoever thought Brussels sprouts could be that sexy?
Did zoom in. That's not terminology I would ever use, Mr. Wells, but that's okay. You can go on the record having said Brussels sprouts are sexy. Lee Wells.
You can play that card if you
2020.
want.
That'll be the next T-shirt. But seriously, the problem with the loaded Brussels sprouts, right, is the same problem that like New Mexican cuisine has. Is that when you have all these awesome ingredients and they're arranged in sort of the form of a casserole, sometimes it's hard to understand what you're looking at. Yes. And so when I'm trying to tell the story,
the marketing
through a photo of like, these are loaded Brussels sprouts, with all respect, the Brussels sprouts were underneath the loaded. Right. And all I'm seeing is loaded. And so I'm sitting here just racking my brain, and we realize, let's just put a fork in this and pull it up, and let's grab a Brussels sprout and pull it up, and we'll video it, and we'll take pictures of it. And just trying to more illustrate. I even had an idea I hadn't even told you about, is that we want to do like a time lapse where you see the Brussels sprouts, you snap your finger and the Brussels sprouts are in there. You see the cheese, you snap your finger and the cheese is in there. And you see the green chilies or the peppers, whatever, and you snap your finger and they're in there. And then each time we would snap, the ingredient would be added in there and then melted and kind of cooked into it. So you can understand in video form the components of the loaded Brussels sprouts and how they're loaded, starting with the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
And just stacking on top of each other, TikTok style. I think that'd be a lot of fun to kind of come in the kitchen and show how it's made.
I think a lot of people would like to see the flash fried process of that and how they are crispy and browned.
Yeah,
and
you make
that.
edible Brussels sprouts, Lee. I don't know how you did it.
Right.
I don't know.
I hear it all the time. I don't eat Brussels sprouts. I'm like, well, you haven't tried mine.
Zero interest in Brussels sprouts. Seriously, zero interest in Brussels sprouts. But the flash fried Brussels sprouts at Wells, I'm telling you, I would just eat them because they're good to eat. They're just delicious to eat.
And they're very simple. I mean, really, it's our seasoning and the way that we fry them. I think a mistake a lot of people make, we're talking about Brussels sprouts now.
Yes, welcome. We're talking about Brussels sprouts now.
So one of the mistakes people make with Brussels sprouts is they leave them too big. So we quarter them, which is part of my culinary genius. We quarter them so that they get enough openability in the oil, and then they also get crispy enough and get cooked through enough, so you're not eating something.
So those aren't just really tiny Brussels sprouts?
No, they're quartered.
I had no idea.
No, they're big. They're big, and then they're quartered up so that they cook.
That's the secret.
And when they cook, they kind of unflower. They kind of bloom in the oil, and it cooks down into them more. So there's a lot of things that go into to cooking that people sitting at a table don't ever think about. We R&D'd that for an afternoon, how to make the best Brussels sprouts. So I had my guys in the kitchen. I was in there. We tried different cuts. We had different types of dices, and we worked on different timings, different temperatures of oil. There's a lot to it. And then some of that I can kind of just tell already is going to work because I know my seasonings and what my the different things in the kitchen taste like. But yeah. One day I was on my way home from way to work, and I created a spicy ketchup recipe in my head, and I guess I need to say this now that I have a book coming out. I guess it's as good a time as any. I have a book coming out.
You've been mentioning it on your podcast.
I have. It's part of the reason the podcast exists.
Oh, I see.
And so I'm not bashful about that.
There's a book coming out.
There's a book coming out. It is going to the printer hopefully this next week. I'm hoping.
You'll be able to buy it at Wells.
Yes, and online and Amazon. You can actually buy it at barnesandnoble.com.
Wow.
Target, Walmart.com, all of those. It's going to be out there for everyone. But in the book, I talk about coming up with this spicy ketchup recipe. And based upon my growing up and eating my after-school snacks, I created this whole idea of spices and butter. And I went through the whole spice rack in my mom's kitchen.
Okay.
And I came up with various combinations of spices and what worked and what didn't, what I liked, what I didn't like, what worked together, what should never be on a potato or in your mouth ever. And made all these, and it was over a few years that I'd come home, make a baked potato, and then I'd create my own butter sauce. And without realizing it, it taught me what each spice tasted like, what works together, what doesn't. And so now I can pretty much tell you what's in something by smelling it and tasting it. I could pretty much make a recipe without even looking at a ingredients list. And so on the way to work one morning, I said, you know what? I enjoy a good spicy ketchup. I'm going to put this together. And when I got out of the truck, walked in, grabbed the Vitamix, put those few elements together with the ketchup, and within about maybe 15 minutes, I handed the recipe to my kitchen manager. I said, that's our Wells spicy ketchup recipe. And it hasn't changed in 5 years.
You're saying you cooked up the recipe in your head.
Uh-huh.
You thought about it while you're driving your truck down the road. You got out, mixed it up in 15 minutes, handed the card over, you dropped the microphone, you're like, that's Wells spicy ketchup. And then the rest was history. Years have passed, never changed it.
People want it bottled every day.
You're like a flavor savant.
I guess. I don't even know what that means. But
how do you even grasp cayenne pepper and paprika at such a level that you can just spit it out of your head and into Wells spicy ketchup? It's actually good. I'm serious. I like it.
Not having Little Debbie's and various snack cakes growing up in the house. Not a lot of snack food, junk food stuff. It forced me to.
It's because they had to go 15 miles into town, and they didn't have any paved roads back in those days. And
not that old.
The Wells Cattle Ranch was way out on the frontier.
We have taken the tractor to town once or twice, but that's a whole different story. But anyway, that's what happens sometimes when we get off track on the podcast. We start talking about Brussels sprouts and ketchup recipes.
We can edit all of that out.
I won't. I'll leave it all in there.
Okay.
You know what the most amazing podcast fact is right now? The more awkward the podcast, the more viral it goes.
Oh, my.
I mean, I forget the girl's name, but oh, my gosh, she's everywhere. She's got, what's her name? Bobby. And she's just blowing up the whole internet.
Why?
Because it's awkward. I don't know.
Oh, I see. People like weird tension.
I mean, it's like Drake and, every A-list name, Mark Cuban. I mean, she's interviewed all these people. Is she
the one that interviews people with clothes on in bed?
She did that.
Have you seen that weird podcast where they have to interview people like
that was one of them, yeah,
in pajamas in bed or something? Or she's
sitting in someone's house and she's just holding these are made for a mic stand.
Yeah.
But she's holding this big mic in her hand, like it's a can of soup, talking. And it's the most awkward thing and just millions of views. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is let's make this awkward. No, I'm not saying that at all.
No, that's guaranteed.
I'm not going to say that. Well, man, let's do this. Let's talk a little bit specifically for our listeners, if they're still with us, about some ideas that people can do to market their business.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a place in time for every business where they move from a DIY, I'm going to do it myself, to I need someone to come help me do some of this. I think there's a place, I had to hit it, where I got busy, needed some more help, and I realized I need some outside source help, professional help for marketing. But until someone gets there, I think that there's a lot of things they can do.
Oh, yeah.
On their own. Yep. Some that cost money, some that are free. Give me your top 3 maybe ideas that someone that's got a business and they just want to do some marketing. They want to get their name out there. They don't have a lot of money. Maybe they're just starting up. What would you say would be maybe 2 or 3 things that someone could do?
Well, if you're an entrepreneur or an owner operator and you've got your own little small business and you're kind of, low budget, shoestring budget, maybe negative budget, and you're trying to get the word out there, where I would start is something called a Google Business Profile. So Google Business Profile used to be called a Google My Business or a GMB. Today it's just called a Google Business Profile, GBP. It's primarily intended for businesses that have a brick and mortar location, a front-facing address. And some people will be running a business out of their home, and they don't intend for customers to actually come to a specific place. In that case, you can create a Google Business Profile that doesn't have an actual address. You can select a service area. But the idea is that you're beginning the foundation of putting your business on Google, where people who are looking for specific services or solutions can tell Google the problem, and Google can serve them a result that meets their needs. So a lot of people don't have a Google Business Profile whatsoever or understand it, or people who have one don't utilize it whatsoever. And so for a business that has a physical address, that has a phone number, that has hours, that Google Business Profile and the population of information upon it is like critical.
So that population of information is keywords, like you said, service area, of course, physical contact information.
There's a lot of different attributes and tabs in there. There's a service tab, there's a products tab, there's even an updates tab that a lot of people don't even realize exists, where it's a little bit of a miniature social media feed where you can update similar to like Instagram. You can put photos and basic text descriptions and information. That's where customers can upload photos that they've taken at or related to your business, or you as the owner can upload photos and videos of your business yourself. And this is most notably where you're going to be getting your Google reviews, which I know you watch with a laser vision. You remembered even a half decimal of 1 star that I left 5 years ago. So I know that no one's going to get anything past Lee Wells.
I've read every one of them.
Okay, I'm sure. So those reviews, though, are critical. And honestly, they've never been even more critical than they are now. And so every word in a Google review, both being left by the person leaving the review and the person responding to it, is taken into account when Google is trying to come up with what search results to give a person who's typing in an inquiry. So with that logic in mind, it's in any business owner's best interest to have as many reviews as possible with as much data within them as possible. And a lot of people don't realize that they matter, or that they drive up the amount of organic search results that you have. So if you have 30 reviews and your competitor has 300 reviews, and you both have an equivalent product that's approximately the same difficulty to obtain.
Same star rating.
Yeah. The one with 300 is going to be weighted higher just because of the volume of data and the amount of reviews. Even if you're both 5.0, they're a 5.0 with 30, you're a 5.0 with 300, the one with more is going to have better odds of being served higher and more often. And also the psychological perception is that the one with 300 reviews is just more trustworthy and more established, even though sometimes the older business actually has less reviews and the newer one has more. But someone who comes into Rockwall as they're passing through, for example, on a vacation or something, they wouldn't have time or even care that one business has been open for 40 years and has got 50 reviews, and this one's been open for 3 years and has got 300 reviews. They just want to go with the most reputable local source to meet their need, whatever that need is. And some people have got about 3 or 5 seconds to make that decision, and they're going to be looking at how many reviews you have and how good that rating is. So for anybody who wants to get a big boost in the amount of opportunities they have for free, I would say focus on driving as many reviews as possible to a Google Business Profile any way possible.
And a profile that's completely filled out and as much information as possible.
Yeah, if you have a service, list that service, because when people are Googling, who could build a fence, who can fix a foundation, who can lay concrete, you might say, my name's Jared Contractors, LLC, and you have a Google Business Profile. But under the Services tab, you've not filled out anything. You've not put any of the services that you offer, none of the descriptions. You could have proactively built out all the different main sort of cornerstone services that you offer and then gone on to put a photo or even a multi-sentence description of each one of those, all of that's being taken into account by the search engine optimization algorithm that Google runs to.
Because that's the only way it has any qualifying information to go by.
Aside from a website. So now a website's a whole nother level, but for the sake of clarity, we don't have to go that deep down the rabbit hole.
Right.
But the Google business profile actually is even more important, in my opinion, than the website is, because the website's a second layer down. People are searching on Google, and sometimes we'll get your phone number, address, hours, information, all from that Google business profile. They don't even need to go to your website.
Right.
So, feeding Google as much data and information that leads back to who you are and what you do is always going to be in your best interest. And you can give it a lot more information than you probably have for free. But people don't realize that they could spend 10 minutes tonight on their Google business profile, giving a little bit more data, updating some photos that they hadn't uploaded in the last several months that are sitting on their phone, making them no money, that could be on their Google business profile, attracting attention and consideration. And once you start to connect the dots between, a lot of data and information on Google business profile with organic opportunities coming in the door, calling on the phone, you're going to start to take that seriously pretty quick.
Yeah, that's good. What would you say would be a secondary? Because Google is, of course, king of the internet, whether we want them to be or not. It is what it is. What would you say as far as social media goes? What would be the number one?
Well, that's what I was about to jump right over to social media. So, when I'm talking about the philosophies of how people make a purchase decision, you can think of Google as reactive, okay? And I say reactive as in someone has a problem, and they're going to ask Google the problem and or the question, and they need Google to give them the answer to their problem. So it's going to react to your inquiry. On social media, we're going to be proactive. So you have reactive marketing that's reacting to what you need, and proactive marketing that's going to show you what you need before you necessarily know that you need it.
Right.
So on social media, we can't wait necessarily for someone to make a status update that says, I'm in Rockwall and want a delicious burger today. Where is a good place to go? People don't really make status updates like that in the form of an inquiry, not always. So instead, we need to be putting out content from our brands or our identities, however we're promoting ourselves online, consistently, that quickly and conveniently conveys who we are and what we do. And a lot of people are overwhelmed with social media and think, oh, I can't do it. And as long as you think that, you're right. But I would argue that you can. Anyone with a cell phone of any age or shape or size has the ability to take a photo, take a video, and do a better job more often sharing who they are and what they do in a way that lets the market naturally understand that they're the resource for that, whatever that is.
Right.
Hanging televisions up,
Right.
installing pools, fixing foundations, fixing roofs, helping people find a house, cooking burgers, doesn't matter. If you're not demonstrating who you are and what you do through stories, photos, videos, status updates, and correlating what you're professionally good at to you and your brand, then you can't expect people to know that naturally. You have to demonstrate that. And so it's an ongoing show to sort of tell the story of you in the form of a business on social media. And it doesn't cost you anything. It just takes time and consistency.
Right. And we all have phones with better cameras than have probably ever existed in our public's hands. I mean, unless you were a photographer, we have amazing capability. Just we carry it around. We don't even think about it.
That's right.
We should use it. Let me ask you this real quick. We'll come back to some of that in a second, but there's multiple platforms. So someone says, okay, there's Facebook, Instagram, there's Snap, there's TikTok, there's Twitter, X, there's YouTube out there.
Sure.
Where do I start with, my business? What should I do first or second there? And I think it might have something to do with demographics, age.
Sure.
There's a lot to that, but just if you can simplify that real quick.
Right. So I would say that if your target customer is between the ages of, 18 and 25, then you would want to be more Instagram focused. And I would say if your target customer is between the ages of 25 and 35, 25 and 55, you might want to be more Facebook focused. If you were trying to reach as far down as teenagers, let's say like age like 13 to 25, then TikTok or TikTok Instagram would be a good place. And if you were trying to get to teenagers or even younger than that, you can reach YouTube because there's kids YouTube and there's ways to put out children's programming and everything. They vet it, but most people that we come across that are operating, in any town in America are really after those, 25 to 55-year-old consumers. And no matter what social media network you want to talk about, more people in that age demographic spend more session time every day on Facebook than any other platform. That's just the truth.
Yeah. And especially when you're looking for things that are recommended or like you were saying a while ago, people don't come out and just say, I'm driving into town looking for a burger. But there's people who do ask for recommendations all day, every day on Facebook. And I'm looking for a dog sitter. I'm looking for a concrete guy. And those things are probably more germane to Facebook than any of the other platforms, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's a community. It's a community, and it's meant to start discussion. Whereas, Instagram and TikTok are a lot more visual oriented and a lot more on what you're seeing. Facebook also has these options as well, but doesn't necessarily pigeonhole you into just videos or photos. You're completely free to post text, long form, short form, etc. It kind of it fits any sort of format of content that you want to put out. And a lot of people do use it, of course, as a little bit of a yellow pages or a sort of a localized Google. They don't want to just hear the answer to their question that they could get on Google. They want to hear from the community or their friends.
Right.
And, let me tell you, Facebook pays attention to that. And if you happen to be running paid ads, which I don't know if we'll talk about that in today's podcast or not, but if you happen to be running paid ads that are going after people in a specific area for specific interests, it will pay attention to if they have left direct match context clues or status updates sometime in a reasonable time frame that line up with that. So if you happen to say, man, I'd really like to have a custom pool in my backyard, and that was a status update you made, even on friends-only privacy, and we happen to be running ads for a custom pool builder that happened to be within 15 miles of where you sit, you would almost certainly see an ad from this custom pool builder sometime in the next 72 hours. And you would say, how did I see that? How? Like you gave them the data.
Yeah.
You put it out there.
Yeah.
And so they've made it harder and harder for us to get a hold of these cookie crumbs because of privacy concerns and people opting out of tracking and all kinds of different things. But there's something called on Facebook data, which is data that you voluntarily give and surrender to Facebook in the form of a status update or a conversation, comments that you're making every single time that you type anything into Facebook.
That's fair game.
That might be taken into consideration by a distribution algorithm. Absolutely. It's fair game.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, and that's true for paid ads coming back. But they're always looking at and kind of crunching the numbers on words and the information that's being out there for what is coming later. So how far back do they reach into that data? As long as you've been on Facebook, is there a time?
They don't define that publicly.
Yeah.
So that's a terrific question. No question, within 90 days at a minimum, and it might go back further than that. If you've liked a page or a brand or something maybe 5 or 6 years ago,
it's still there.
There's a record.
Like.
There's a record of that.
Yeah.
But it also would know that if you've liked it, like let's say I liked NASCAR in 2005. But then since then, I've never once interacted with anything NASCAR the page has put out. Though I've liked the page, Facebook would also know that I've never interacted or engaged with it.
Right.
So the algorithm might determine to still not serve me NASCAR-related things for sale. Even though I've liked NASCAR, you can't just say, well, show this ad to people who've liked NASCAR. I want to show it to people who have liked NASCAR and have regularly engaged with NASCAR content.
Yeah.
Because I might have liked all kinds of pages a long time ago that I never thought to unlike. I just started ignoring them. I kind of mentally unlike them.
And then they quit showing them to you.
That's
in the
right.
Feed. You forgot that you ever did it.
That's right.
Yeah. So all of these platforms, I believe, do have a lot to offer. Let me ask you this: what do you see with Twitter, the new X? What do you see really happening right now? Because I mean, like Tucker Carlson's on there. His show is on X. I mean, I never saw that coming. What's the developments happening right now? And let me pause for those who don't know, because we didn't really get into Jared's credentials at the top here.
We didn't say anything.
We didn't.
You just jumped right in.
You don't know who he is, but he runs a. Tell him what you do.
Okay. All right.
In a paragraph.
Yeah. So my name is Jared Guynes, and I'm a Rockwall, Texas-based digital marketing consultant and brand strategist. So we help brands advertise effectively on digital platforms and tell their story across social media.
And your focus over time has been Facebook, I would say.
Yeah,
primarily.
Facebook's sort of the cornerstone. I would argue that Facebook's the cornerstone of social media at all. Everything that's happened is sort of a derivative or a spinoff or some sort of nebulous connection back to some feature of Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook really is the center of the social media universe, in my opinion.
And to give just a quantifying statement, you manage somewhere in the neighborhood of how much ad spending a month, a year with Facebook?
More than $1 million a year. So
you're responsible for spending someone else's $1 million total dollars on Facebook for advertising.
Yeah.
So
Seven figures.
That's a lot of work that you guys do. Mm-hmm. And so when I think Jared's the only person I know personally who has been to Facebook.
I have.
And maybe twice or something. I mean, at least once.
Yeah, so I'll tell you just something real quick that I think maybe viewers will find interesting. And I was realizing this earlier when I was chatting with you over text. I'm like, this would make a good status update. So as someone who has spent or delegated on behalf of my clients more than $1 million of ad spend directly into Facebook, and as someone who has been an invited guest to the Menlo Park Facebook World Headquarters campus in California on multiple occasions, I still have no direct line. I have no phone number. There's no bat phone. There's no, secret support at facebook.com email. There's nothing. And even spending $1 million a year doesn't get you a direct line. And even going all the way to Facebook headquarters and walking into the center of the universe of Facebook doesn't get you one step closer to any sort of secret solution than you would think. You are on your own, baby, to figure this out and to sort of interpret data and make decisions that are the best for you and your brand.
Yeah.
And I did see.
At least that's fair. They don't give anybody that help. I mean, at least everyone's on the same ground.
A lot of people have said, why isn't there a 1-800 Facebook? Why isn't there a tech support line? And can you imagine the call center?
They don't know
for
the magnitude of
1.7 billion people who don't know how to log in and log out.
I mean, how many server farms does Facebook even have anymore?
They don't disclose that.
They're the same size as like Amazon warehouses.
Yeah.
And they're all over the country. There's no way to even understand. I don't think the layman's can't even understand the kind of.
Even Facebook doesn't understand how Facebook works. Just to be really honest with you guys, at the Facebook headquarters in California, I saw firsthand how departmentally, even inside of the company, people know what their specific responsibilities are within a department. So the guys who were working on Oculus knew all about that. And there was even a team just for emojis. There was a team just for Messenger. There was a team just for Marketplace. There was a team for Newsfeed. There was a team for job listings or whichever. And they had departmentalized every single feature, sub-feature, and sub-sub-feature of the entire company in such a way that no one outside of those departments knew what any of the other ones were doing. And they walk around in plain clothes, no name tags. They have like a little ID that they'll keep in their pocket. And you can't tell the difference between somebody walking through Facebook because they're a guest and someone who's the head developer in whatever department. And they don't disclose that information amongst each other. So even inside of Facebook, there's no answers at Facebook. It's all secret sauce.
It's amazing that all works together at the end.
I have
for us
no idea. Yeah, it's very much
amazing.
Ongoing development. And so you'll get in there and you'll say, man, this is buggy. This isn't working right. And I'm like, man, if you went there and saw what I saw, you'd understand. Like they are very much
sense.
They're running around with their pants on fire over there, like for the last probably 15 years straight.
Right.
So whatever. It's a crazy thing.
So if somebody wants to go even beyond the free stuff that you can do, then you can set up ads on all of these platforms.
Oh, they'd love to. Yeah. So, you mentioned last week in the last podcast about what you call the fundamentals of marketing. And I really agree with that core philosophy because a lot of people think that adding money on top of their business's communication efforts is going to be the difference between them being where they're at and where they want to be. And sometimes the answer is not spending more money. Sometimes the answer is looking in the mirror and realizing that your sales process is messed up, or your management process is messed up, or some sort of optimization could be done in the house. And it might actually be you as the leader who needs to take responsibility for the shortcomings, and not any of your employees or your team members. It's actually you. And so we found again and again that people try to engage me and the team for advertising, thinking, oh, if I just spend money with Jared, then that'll turn things around. And upon analysis, I realized that you can't put lipstick on a pig, right? And like, we can't outmarket bad service, bad product, bad quality. No amount of marketing is going to overcome it.
Let me back up just for those who maybe didn't catch last week's podcast. You can still listen to that. But in my book, I talk about the fundamentals of marketing. And that means a lot of people, when they say marketing, they think ads. That's what they first think. Even if you Google fundamentals of marketing, it'll start telling you about Facebook ads. It'll start telling you about billboards, radio ads. And that's what they say the fundamental of marketing is. And I back up and say, at the first two sentences of that chapter, it says, I've mentioned a variety of marketing techniques already. However, you may not have noticed them because they were not labeled marketing techniques. And then I began to talk about what we do every day. A handshake, doing great quality food, getting word of mouth, propagating across our community. That's great foundational marketing. That's what you have to have, because no amount of money, as you just said, will fix what you don't have already working. And I talk about one of my favorite campaigns ever is the Chick-fil-A cow.
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, Eat More Chicken was
McCarthy.
probably one of the greatest campaigns maybe in the history of the world. And there's still, I looked it up the other day, I saw something, there's still cows in costumes in 2023 in restaurants. I saw one just the other day, a picture of a restaurant, and the cow was there from 93, 4, 5, somewhere in there, mid-90s is when they started this. But if their process wouldn't have been right at the store level, they would have imploded.
Yeah.
So the great billboards, the great, what they call them, the rogue cows taking over the billboards, and they had their paintbrushes in hand. You would have been young at this point,
I remember.
Yeah, and they had these paintbrushes, and they were crossing out stuff on billboards. These cows were.
Yeah.
And that's how it launched. But and it went viral before there was a such thing as viral back then. And they took over cities, and they took over the whole country. But they had to have it right first. They had to have their chicken sandwich figured out first. They had to have their processes and systems right first. So yeah, just spending money without a foundation, I think, is a waste. And so, like you were saying, keep going. But what you were saying there tied in perfectly to what we were talking about in last week's session.
Yeah. So, I mean, in a way, and I think you mentioned this last week as well, we're always marketing.
Everything.
We're always marketing. And in today's economy and in today's sort of business structure, you don't really get to clock out, right? So Lee Wells, the individual, is in fact permanently and irrevocably connected to Wells Cattle, the restaurant, whether you like it or not.
Sure.
Right?
Wherever I go.
It doesn't matter if you're in the kitchen or not, or if you're clocked in or not. If you are Lee Wells, the human, you are a representative, delegate, ambassador of Wells Cattle, the restaurant. And so therefore, all of your actions, everything you say, everything you do, the way you treat people, is in fact a form of marketing, a form of association, even if you don't intend it to be and they don't perceive it to be. When you're Ronald McDonald, you can't be walking around saying, well, I'm not on the clock for McDonald's this weekend. I'm just, Ron McDonald, just a guy just trying to enjoy himself. Like if you cut somebody off in traffic, they're going to say, that's Ronald McDonald from McDonald's. He cut me off, and that will have effects on the business. So in the same way, I think everyone needs to remember that you're always marketing. You're always a representative of your business by association, and the things that you do good and the things that you do bad either way can have effects on your business. And I think you need to be mindful of that. Right,
absolutely. And the best compliment anyone could ever give you is bringing someone to your business
Yeah.
and saying, hey, these guys did it right, and I want to introduce you to someone that does this right.
Yeah.
And if the more of that you get, really, there's always a place for marketing.
Yeah.
There's always a place for external marketing is what I call it. But external marketing is what? Reaching new people that's never heard of you and reminding people that you're there that have heard of you, right? Those are pretty much the two legs that marketing stands on. I want to reach new people. I want to remind people that I'm still over here.
Sure.
And so but the best thing that could ever happen is someone saying, hey, I'm going to take you to get the best burger you ever ate.
Yeah.
I mean, the pressure's on, but that's the best marketing you could ever ask for.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you to a place that's going to tint your windows, and they're going to treat you so fine that you're going to tell everybody else that that's where to go get it done, even though it's all the way across the Metroplex.
Yeah.
And you don't ever want to go over there for any other reason. And those are the things that happen when we're doing the foundational things right. And then you can always spend money on top of that to remind and to inform other people.
As many people as you've ever reached, there's a lot more you haven't. And as many people as you've ever served, there's a lot more that you haven't. And as much money as you've ever made, there's a lot more that you haven't, right? And so there's always the opportunity to go further, do more, reach more, serve more, and be more. And if you just want to wait around for it to happen naturally, you're leaving a lot of your future up to chance, and you can take some deliberate and intentional moves of your own that are practical, low cost or no cost at all, to give yourself some better odds of success. And that really is sort of the magic of social media and digital content that we all have the power to create in our own homes and with our own phones.
And I think the cool thing, speaking of social media and our phones and the return on investment, the ROI for these opportunities on Facebook and various other things, advertising's never really been cheaper. It used to be. You brought up the Yellow Pages a while ago, which I haven't thought about the Yellow Pages in a few days.
Yeah.
Yellow Pages was, crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But that was the only way you could get in someone's house back when they had phones that were plugged into the wall and a book that sat in a drawer, and somebody said, I need a car wash. And so they flip open to see and look up car wash, right?
If you were engaging me in 1978 to help you out with marketing, I'd say, let's name it AAA Burgers. We're going to be AAA Burgers,
we're
Rockwall.
the first of the list.
AAA Burgers.
Yeah.
Like, well, my name's Wells, Jared, and I've always wanted to have a restaurant called Wells Cattle Company. I'm like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
We're going to call it AAA. Like, Jared, there already is a AAA. I'm like, quadruple A then.
Right.
We're going to be quadruple A. No, 5A. 5A Burgers. And that was the original SEO hacking before SEO was changing your business name to have the letter A in the beginning. And there's still shops around today called AAA. And people are like, why is that? It's because you're the first in the Yellow Pages, man.
A1.
That was the original gimmick, was they did it alphabetical order. And if you wanted to be page one, result one, all you had to do is just keep adding the letter A.
Right.
Because that computer would put you first in the listing. But you're right.
But they're expensive.
Yeah, and this is the great benefit of social media, and as much demonization as people have spoken out about it, and I'm not even saying it's wrong, because we've seen it.
There's good and bad.
We've seen it used so bad.
Sure.
But here's one thing it's done good, is it's given the little guy a chance. It's given the mom and pops an opportunity to market either for free or extremely low cost or at any budget that they choose, and actually reach the people that matter right in their own backyard. Mm-hmm. And there was once upon a time that you had to go all in big bucks in the Yellow Pages, all in big bucks on the radio or print, newspaper, something like this, and make major investment or no investment. And one of the great things about social media is that it has democratized advertising to a way that an everyman has the ability to talk about the value they're offering to a market in a way that is extremely cost effective. And I think it's really leveled the playing field a lot.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about technology.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Like, oh, Facebook's the devil. I'm like, it's a tool.
Yeah,
it's a tool, and it could be used great. It could be used poorly.
Right.
But
it's like anything, man.
It's like a wrench in a box. Like if you throw it at someone's head, then it's a bad wrench.
It's a magnifier of what you already are.
That's right.
Like money. It's like power. It's like position. It's just a magnifier of who you are and what you are. If you're negative, your Facebook feed's probably going to look pretty dismal. If you're a positive person, your Facebook page is probably going to be pretty uplifting.
Yeah.
If you're a realist, it's going to be in the middle. But there's something there to be said about about it just being what it is. If you're looking to be a bad person, there you go. I mean, you can if you're looking for a way to bless people and be an amazing person, there you go. It's right there at your fingertips. It's called Facebook.
You were asking a little earlier about X and my thoughts on that.
Yes.
And sort of my perception of what I'm seeing right now is that we're very much in an experimental phase. And the acquisition was almost a joke or a dare that kind of came to fruition. And Mr. Musk actually tried to back out of that deal and didn't like it anymore and ended up all going through. He's got the money, the check cleared. But what I'm seeing now is not sort of X in the vision that it was explained to have had at the acquisition. They're working towards that or trying to find their footing. So it's a little bit of a Wild West kind of environment over there right now. And I wouldn't be in a position to recommend a heavy, consistent, and engaged present on X for any small business to really move the needle. If you get a kick out of it and you think that you can reach your target demographic and engage and have a sense of community there, then by all means take advantage of it. But I'm not seeing any brand saying, oh, because of the consistent and deliberate actions we're taking on X, we've really increased sales and increased the amount of opportunities that we're taking in. It's a little bit more of a mouthpiece place for people of high public interest, celebrities, sports figures, notable personalities to sort of text message the world.
A megaphone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it just doesn't make sense in a lot of capacities for small brands who are trying to reach a small local audience. And I'm interested to see, where it goes and what comes of it. Because I think Elon's just an interesting human, and there's a lot of the stuff he says that I think is brilliant, and some of the stuff I hear him say, I can't believe what I just heard. So he's just an interesting human, and I'd like to see where it goes and what happens, but I haven't really seen it make a major difference in a business's bottom line.
Okay,
at least not at a local level.
Right. Well, and like you said, if you got the blue check and you're somebody that's a big name, pretty much anywhere you say anything could take off and become viral. And
maybe,
I don't know, but it's interesting at least to study and see what's going to happen with it. I mean, it's interesting. All right. So before we get into this last segment, any other marketing type comments that you have before we go?
So here's a simple little philosophy that I'll share with everybody that I've found to be true. This is great because it rhymes. You'll never forget it. It's called "What you show is what you grow." So if you want to have more opportunities with some specific service you offer, show that more often in your social media across stories, reels, photos, whichever. And like magic, you will see people asking for what they're seeing. So let's say that you offered many things at a restaurant. Let's say that you had hot dogs, milkshakes, and hamburgers. But man, we've got to get these milkshake numbers up. Everything else is fine, but we're not quite moving as many milkshakes as we'd like. I would say what you show is what you grow. So if you rearrange the emphasis of the organic storytelling to be a little bit more milkshake heavy, like magic, you'll see more interest in milkshakes, more inquiries about milkshakes, and more transactions about milkshakes. The same premise works across anybody selling anything. What you're showing is going to be what you're growing. And if you want to attract specific attention for a specific service, simply show that more often. Talk about that more often. You don't have to try to sell it. Just show it. Let it be top of mind and let that be a reoccurring theme. And sure enough, you'll see people reaching out to you about it. One of the little tricks I've done is anytime that we are hired to go out to do a consultation wherever we are around the country, that's already been paid for. I don't have to, as a part of my contract, talk about the fact that I did the consultation. That's not anything that anyone ever asked me to do. But I will deliberately say the consultation is completed. Here's where we went. Here's what we did, and here's how the consultation went. This was a great time. And I don't say at the end, and call me today for consultation packages. I'm not trying to sell anything to anybody. I'm just talking about what I do. But sure enough, that consistent storytelling and documentation of what I'm actually doing in real life ends up attracting so many more opportunities to continue doing the same thing. And it's sort of like a self-perpetuating opportunity engine. And I think a lot of people out there are selling something that they're not talking about. doing something that no one knows they're doing, has a side hustle or business that their neighbors wouldn't even know that they do. And that's an issue, because I think that there's a huge advantage to you walking in a room and people saying, "Hamburger Man." There's Lee, and you're like, "I'm just Lee Wells." Like, "Hamburger Man." You're like, "Okay, all right, everybody, chill out. I'm just Lee Wells." Like, hamburgers. Like, okay. As crazy as that might be, ultimately that works in the best interest of the business and subsequently your employees, your family, and everybody who depends on you. It's a good thing that people call you Hamburger Man.
Yeah.
It'd be bad if they called you Nothing Man or something,
Right.
And a lot of people, there is no correlation or connection between them, the person, and the value and service that they offer. And if that's the case, and you haven't done a great job doing storytelling online, that's something anyone can do better for free starting now. So that would be my advice.
I like it. Very good. Well, this is one of my favorite parts of the whole podcast.
Bring it on.
It's called Rapid Fire.
Ooh.
And so usually what I've done in the past is I've let my guests start with 3 questions and then I follow with 3 questions.
Okay.
Today, what I want to do is I want to let you take the first question and I'll answer it. And then I'm going to ask you the first question. We'll just alternate back.
Does there have to be a genre?
Doesn't. So completely open. Just whatever you want to ask, and it can be whatever. I have to answer it.
Okay. Are we ready?
Ready. Let's
All
go.
right. What was the name of your first horse?
My first horse was called Butterball. It was a white Shetland pony, and I rode the hide off that thing.
Okay. You actually remember.
Absolutely. A funny story about Butterball. Butterball passed away, and my dad didn't have the heart to tell me. So my dad got another horse that was a white Shetland pony.
Similar.
And turned it out in the pasture and buried Butterball.
Oh my gosh.
And he was trying to save me, his little boy. I knew something wasn't right when I got on that Butterball and it didn't act the way the other one did. But I didn't. I was a kid. I was just a kid. I was probably 8 or 9 years old until there was a hoof that began to show in the middle of the pasture.
Oh no.
Where the original Butterball number 1 was laying. Yeah, and I went in and I said, Dad, there's a hoof. He's like, get in the house. And that's the end of that story. But yeah, my dad was trying to save me some heartache.
But instead you saw a zombie Butterball sticking up out of the ground. Like a haunted house. He made it much worse.
He didn't mean to. He took care of it though. I think he learned a lesson that day. All right, you ready? Here's your first question.
Here we go. Hit me.
All right, I'm gonna start out easy and then we'll get on. We'll get on a little. If you could go back in time and join one TV show or cartoon, which one would it be?
Back in time.
Just go backwards and jump into the screen. What would it be?
Oh man, wow. This is a terrific question. Jump into the screen. I would love to be a contestant on the original 1989 season of American Gladiators.
Okay.
That show was just horrifically dangerous. No OSHA compliance, no R&D. They didn't have any doctors on staff. It was really dangerous and terrible stuff. But at the time, it was the coolest thing ever. I don't know if you remember the original American Gladiators.
They
had a bunch of everymans versus like Turbo and and Ice and Blizzard and Warthog and these giant roided up dudes who would just beat the tar out of you with giant foam sticks. And they had this escalator that ran backwards up a hill. And if you got to run through it. Anyways, I'd love to be on the original American Gladiators. No reboots, the original.
I didn't see that one coming.
I'd have to be modern version of me though, because if I was like 6-year-old version, 5-year-old version of Jared on American Gladiators 89,
no, you go back like
I'd be decimated.
Yeah, you just jump in there like you are.
Okay, so current body, but that time. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely the American Gladiators.
Great answer. All right, what you got?
Oh, my second rapid fire question. Okay. Do you recall the first pair of cowboy boots you've ever worn?
I do.
What are they? What's the story?
The reason I remember is they had plastic heels, and I wore them so much that the boot heel had the 4 little squares of hollow air, went off. They would catch mud and all that and track in the house, because I wore the bottom of that heel off so much that you could see like the frame on the inside of the plastic boot heel. Yeah, I was a little kid. I don't know. That was a long time ago. I don't know what brand they were. They're probably Walmart. But yeah.
So you got started on that cowboy life real early.
Oh, there's a belt that I have somewhere in storage, and it's about that long. And my dad made it. It was leather tooled and had Lee in the middle and the back.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's still. I
You
still
get out
have
of storage. We need to hang it up in a glass case in a restaurant. That'd be cool.
I've thought about that.
You should.
My dad did leather work whenever I was young and had all the tools and everything. And he made wallets and just as a hobby.
I'd love for you to consider, seriously, because you already did this. There's the metal cow, and there's a story with the metal cow and some other things. I think it'd be really slick to hide 10 or 11 like little like scavenger hunt type, Wells artifacts and neat tchotchkes, and pin them up on the wall, hide them in different places in the restaurant. And as a part of the kids' coloring sheet, there's a scavenger hunt sheet on the left with check boxes, and they can take their little crayon and they have to go around the restaurant and find all 12 items, find Lee's childhood belt, find the metal cow, find, grandma's rusty dinner triangle, whatever it is, and have these 12 items. And
that's pretty cool.
If you complete the scavenger hunt, you get an exclusive Wells holographic burger sticker.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's make it do it. Let's
think
do
on
that.
that.
That's a good one.
That's a real good one.
That's solid
Because
gold.
we have there's a butter churner that one of our guests gave us on loan, and she actually passed away with COVID. But that butter churner is amazing memory that she left with us. She would come in and she would eat with us about 4 or 5 times a week. Just a wonderful lady. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff I could do that with.
I could eat Wells 4 or 5 times a week.
She did.
I could do it.
Well,
I'm not joking. I could do it. I would do it.
Yeah, we have another lady. She comes in probably 4 times a week, maybe 5. And
it's more convenient for someone else to cook for you.
Sure. And then as much as groceries cost these days,
Lee's like, I agree with that message.
We are not a bad price.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
All right.
Here we
Here's
go.
the second question.
I'm ready.
If you could be the best in the world at one thing, what would it be? In the world.
Oh man. That's like I feel like I need to take the responsibility to be the best in the world at something and like use it diligently. But I got to be honest, my first reaction to that is to use it frivolously.
Sure.
So I'm sorry, I'm not going to be the best in the world at curing disease or like
heart
solving
surgeries. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Right.
I think I want to be the best in the world at professional wrestling. I think I would want to. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to use this amazing superpower this way, but it was just bestowed upon me.
It's what you got to do.
Mr. Wells asked me spontaneously, what would I would want to be the best in the world at professional wrestling, and just leg drop the Hulkster and just pick up, Andre the Giant, throw him out of the ring, and just dominate 4 decades of professional wrestlers with my, God-given talent to be the best wrestler in the history of the planet.
That's quite frivolous. I get it.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
that's a really terrible use of this power. Okay. But
you had the opportunity to like bring world peace, but instead
I could have.
You're
but
just going to destroy.
I'm not the one. I would give that power to some more diligent and responsible person than me. Don't give me that. I'm sorry.
Right. What's your third question? I'm ready for it.
Okay. Are we recording this? Okay. Lee, have you ever ridden on a cow?
I have.
As a means of transportation?
No, just as a means of messing around.
Do they like it?
They do not. And
did you have to saddle the cow?
No. And their spine is very uncomfortable.
Okay. So they don't like people, humans, or anything up there? It
hurts to think about riding a cow.
For them?
No, for your tailbone.
Oh, for you?
For you.
For a human?
Yeah, it's not comfortable. A horse is made for riding. And it's got a nice, seat built into their back. You can bareback ride.
It's remarkable, by the way, that there's just a natural creature out in the planet that seems almost like it's intentionally designed for humans to ride on top of it.
It's absolutely comfortable to ride a horse bareback. But you try to ride a cow bareback, you might as well just go try to slide down a banister or something. It just feels horrible.
Would you just take a moment to tell us about the time that Lee Wells rode a cow? Because I'd like to have it here for the record.
It's happened on and off throughout, the history of Lee Wells. It's
on and off a few times.
Well, when you're young, you're going to be a bull rider or whatever. You're going to goof off with your friends, and you see one just standing there beside the fence you're standing up on, and you just kind of slip a.
You just see one
leg.
there.
You just slip a leg over and just
won't mind.
See how many leaps you
go
can
a little further here.
Stay on.
Just spontaneous cow riding. This is a thing.
I
knew it.
It is. I think
I knew it.
I think I'll go farther to say, I believe every young man, boy, I don't know about girls, grew up on a farm or a ranch, has done the same thing.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, because you see them out there like standing in the grass, minding their own business, and about the 35th time you see that, you're like, why can't we just ride on one of these for a moment? They're very large.
They usually won't let you, but they have to be in a pen usually, and you got to be up on a fence and you kind of slide down. And then
there's no such thing as like a friendly cow, like a real cool cow.
There might be.
Like once a generation, there's this like weird cows. Like, what's up, man? Hop on.
No, there's bulls that they've trained to take a saddle, and you can actually ride cows if you train them to. I don't have the time for that. We barely have time to break our own horses. Yeah. But you can. You can.
I just wondered, and now
Google
I got my answer.
Google it. You'll find
Lee Wells has ridden a cow.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Now you know. You ready for this one?
No.
I don't think you can be ready. There's no way for you to be ready for this.
All right, let's do it.
All right. What conspiracy theory do you low key believe?
Oh. Like low key believe, not high key.
That you would just tell the podcast, just you and me, in the mic. I mean,
you, me, and the rest of the planet watching.
Yeah. You have a high regard for the number of viewers we have here, by the way.
Yeah,
it's not the planet.
Whomever it is.
I'm not Joe Rogan.
Area 51 is real.
Okay.
That's not a conspiracy.
That's a real place.
That's a confirmed fact.
Yeah.
And I believe that the U.S. government is in control of or custody of aircraft or technology that we're not aware of.
That is alien to the planet.
That might be a stretch.
From outer space or from underwater, or just something that's developed that we don't know about?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go say, aliens from outer space kind of thing.
This is conspiracy theory hour.
But, yes. I mean, I think that we have spacecraft or technology that was intercepted, received, dug up, found, maybe ancient or mummified, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But they found it and said, oh my, we need to either study this or get to the bottom of it or keep it out of public view. Yeah. And I think it went into Cheyenne Mountain or Area 51 or to some unmarked bunker somewhere. And I don't think it's to keep it from the people so much as to protect people from things that we don't know or understand. I don't think it's as nefarious as people want to point out, like, we have a magical cure and we're just going to keep it because it's not profitable. I don't think.
But some kind of machine that would maybe have created a gravitational force that would be more than we could understand.
Or radiation or something we don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
So I just think that the more that we look out.
Not like a Marvel movie that's got something locked into a.
Like if we touch this, we're going to unleash like the ultimate horror on the planet kind of thing. Nah.
Probably not.
I think that the universe is confirmed to have been so vast and to go so much further than we can even observe or see, that to at least say that they're just in a really general sense, there's more going on than we understand or know about, and just kind of leave it at that. You don't have to keep going further and try to hard define. I'm just saying there's more going on than we can see or know about, or perhaps that we can even understand. And I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't actually want to understand, because I believe if I was meant to, I would, or if I could, I would. And it's okay that I don't know how everything works. I got to sleep at night. I can't stay up worrying about all the problems.
Right. Well, man, I tell you what, I have enjoyed our time And great answers, by the way. Great
Well,
questions.
thank you very much.
I enjoy that.
The aliens are real for sure.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
I mean, they're here. I'm sorry.
They're among us.
We are the aliens. Look, that's why. That's where all the other animals. There's like 10,000 species of fish and just one species of human. I mean, I think
might be the aliens.
I think we are I think we are the aliens. I think that we jettisoned here, and Adam and Eve were the first off the capsule, and that's why they wrote the book like that. And it, I think that science and religion are both real, and they can just
overlap.
Yeah. What if everyone's right?
In reality,
it's all right. I don't know. I'm just saying maybe we're aliens.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We wouldn't know.
It's okay.
Because if we were programmed not to know, we wouldn't even question it.
Listen, if I am an alien, I like my Will's hamburgers.
Yeah,
I can say that with honesty.
Well, we like you coming in and eating them too. So
I took a good picture. Did you see the picture I just uploaded?
So good.
And again, let me just be real clear. If even you guys even know what I'm talking about, we could put it up here on the screen. You look at take a look at this. See this burger here on the screen. So this picture that you're seeing, I took with my cell phone a day or two ago, and this is exactly how the burger looks like out of the kitchen. And because of the way the staffing and everything's going, they didn't know it was me, and even if they did know it was me, they didn't know I was going to take a picture of it. This really is the burger as it naturally comes out of the kitchen, as it was just put on the table. And so some people have said, man, this photo's too good, like you staged it or you set it up. I did not. I did not. So this is a guy on his cell phone with a burger on a table, and consistently Wells Burgers look like this. Now you got to order it like this, but they look this way. And I'm thinking, man, that's a good looking burger. And ever since I have started eating green chilies on burgers out of New Mexico, I've gotten in the habit of ordering all my burgers with green chilies.
Yeah.
I just like the little kick that it gives
good,
it.
yeah.
And man, this green chili cheeseburger I had the other day at your place, it rocked my world.
I had 4. We went to Santa Fe, and I had 4 green chili burgers on vacation on purpose. I was having every top burger that I could.
Yeah.
I might write that off, so, I have to do that.
R&D.
But, yeah. So I'm checking them all out. And the honest answer is I had one of the 4 was really good. And then I came back to my restaurant and I made one that we do with the spicy ketchup on it, the green chilies, the onion, just the way we do it, pepper jack cheese. And mine was better. It just was. I'm not saying that for any accolades I'm not breaking my arm, patting myself on the back. It just really was. And we use Hatch chilies. Our chilies come packaged out of Albuquerque. I mean, they're from Hatch. And they're just really good. The way we do them, the way we grill them up and sear them, we do that on purpose, and it's really good. But I want to say before we quit today, we don't doctor any of our pictures, right? You've taken most all the pictures on the menu. We don't doctor like people say. They use Elmer's glue.
Nothing like that
to make mayonnaise, or So nothing. Just so that the listener understands. All the pictures on the board, I mean, they're lit. They have lighting, and there's a great camera. And there's, you may pull a pickle out and a tomato to the edge so to see.
That's it.
But nothing from our kitchen is ever modified in a way that is staged or doctored in a way to make it look different than it comes out of the kitchen.
I can confirm that that's not. There's no misrepresentation in the imagery that you see. So when you walk into Wells and you look at that big screen there up on the ceiling, little secret is that my team and I we took every single one of those photos, and we did it with a basic mid-range professional camera and a $30 ring light from Amazon, and really it's just really good lighting on this product. And like you said, if the pickle was too deep in the burger, I might have grabbed the pickle and pulled it up so that way people can understand that there's pickle there.
Right.
So when you're taking pictures of food product, you want to sort of show all the ingredients and components in a way that you can see with your eyes. So I might have pulled things a little bit, but we weren't painting on lacquer to give grease or drip or anything like that. We weren't using any steam or any sort of practical effects to try to imply freshness that wasn't there. That really is coming out of the kitchen, us laying it up, and just taking pictures.
Right.
I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
And same thing with the hot dogs too.
Right.
Which, by the way, deserves some more credit. I know you're a hamburger restaurant, and you put your flag in the ground in Rockwall as a hamburger restaurant, but the hot dogs are first class. They are first class.
I think we're the only
They're extremely good.
Are we the only restaurant maybe that has a Wagyu beef dog?
A Wagyu hot dog? Yeah.
I think we're the only ones in our area. I mean, other people do it, but I don't know of one. And that hot dog actually comes from a ranch just a county or so over.
Oh, they're great.
From where our restaurant is, and they are farm to table as well. There's like 4 ingredients in that hot dog. There's like beef, liquid smoke, salt, and I mean, there's like, it's just meat. I mean, that's all it is. And they are good. They're
I just wish if you can have a keto hot dog bun.
I have one. I have a gluten-free hot dog bun and a keto hot dog bun.
All right, if you can have a 1 foot long hot dog bun.
Just get 2.
And a double length weenie.
Just get 2.
I like the novelty of a giant bun. Sometimes you want that ballpark experience.
I do understand. The reason we went with the smaller one, the regular bun length, is so that you can mix and match. That's really the mindset behind. So I want a Southwest dog and I want a green chili dog, or I want a bacon blue dog.
Get half length buns and let's do a hot dog flight. Let's do a hot dog flight with half size hot dogs.
No, if we're gonna do anything like that, we're gonna do a slider flight. But I can't put more on my kitchen. They are already swimming in orders. What is our kitchen? It's like 14 by 14 back there.
Add a second floor.
No, then you got
Wells
stairs.
number 2.
Then you got stairs. So I don't know. I don't know the answers to all of the philosophical questions.
Yeah, sorry.
But I can't put it. Like people say, why don't you have sweet potato fries?
Yeah, good question.
And I tell them,
or onion rings.
If I add one more thing to that fryer, they're going to kill me in my sleep. I'm going to wake up with my throat hurting in heaven, saying, "What happened?"
It's a miracle that you figured out Brussels sprouts. Honestly, the fact that you fit in Brussels and then figured out a way to do loaded Brussels. That's just you arranging things creatively that you have access to make new menu items without putting additional load on your kitchen.
When we added the hot dogs, all of those hot dogs have, for the most part, several of them have a corresponding hamburger.
Yeah, smart.
And so we didn't want to add a lot of ingredients to our line, so we reused those ingredients on a hot dog. And so it works because it's completely different.
Well, I'll leave you with this, Mr. Wells. Myself and many members of the Rockwall County community would love to see you take a stab at a terrific steakhouse featuring Wells beef steaks. And I don't know if you call it Wells Fine. I don't know if you call it, Mr. Wells or the Cattle Bell or something. I don't know how you do this, but you've got the cows.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got the pedigree, you've got the cowboy boots, you've ridden on a cow once or twice, as we've just now learned. So I need a Lee Wells flame broiled or chart, whatever you want to do it, steak. I need it. And I know you can't do it in the restaurant the way you got it, the way you set up.
It'd have to be a different thing.
Well, someday there needs to be a Lee Wells steakhouse, and I want it.
So I already have a logo and I already have a concept. I already have a menu. But what I don't have is the beef right now.
What?
I don't have enough beef for it. I mean, I have enough for our hamburger side. Oh. But if the problem with having steaks, cuts on a menu, is you have to have a lot of cows. Like people say, do you sell brisket? Well, there's only 2 briskets on any animal.
I didn't know that.
So there's only 2. So as a ribeye, for instance, maybe there's 12, 14, 16 ribeyes. I don't have it in front of me. But that, depending on how you slice them, how you cut them, the thickness, there's only a certain number per side of beef that you're going to get.
All right.
There's only 1 tri-tip per animal. There's only a certain number of cuts. So the way that part of the thought process in having whole ground beef is I get a whole lot of ground beef out of 1 cow, and it's the most premium possible.
That's true.
So we started out, hoping to butcher like 1 a month, and we're butchering, 6 a month now. But there's the genius kind of in using all of that meat together to make the great burger. But I don't, and so I can do that.
A whole beef blend, right? That's where you get all the parts of the cow. That's one of the cool distinctions about a Wells burger, right? Is that the beef contains all the cuts, including the premium cuts.
Nobody else does that.
Right. You said that since the beginning. Right. So I guess what you're saying is that if you were to extract
Well, I couldn't.
the steak cuts that could only be steak cuts from the cow.
I can't
then
do that.
That same cow could not produce the
Right.
quality of beef that you want. So it'd have to be a separate cow.
It had to have a separate cow, and then I would have all this ground beef left over from the chucks and the roast and the
that you
brisket.
couldn't even use your own restaurant.
I wouldn't use it because then I'm being dishonest. So I've got some problems, and so if I ever did that, I would probably have to buy,
Someone
else's steaks to make that happen. So that's part of the reason it's never worked. And the locations and and staffing is still a challenge in our current world. There's a lot of things. I do have another concept, like my food truck concept.
Yeah.
That's been very successful. But doing that in a strip center where we just serve
Smash burgers.
smash burgers.
Oh, yeah.
Fries.
Yeah.
Milkshakes, and that's it. Just a simple, straightforward.
Wells Royce City Smash Burger.
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
Huh? It's 15 minutes down the street. A lot of people consider it a different place.
I don't know. Just have to see. I would love to go like to Princeton or somewhere like that.
Where is that?
Princeton is outside
Never heard of it.
Outside of McKinney. It's one of the greatest.
What's up there?
A lot of people and not a lot of food.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm more of a Rockwall County man.
me too.
Sorry.
Me too. There's other places. Frisco could handle something like that. There's various places that could handle a burger like that. But I don't have any plans right now to do it. But the menu's already set and the concept is already set. But it's just one of those things.
Well, when's the book coming out? That's what we all want to know. When's that book hitting store shelves?
I'm hoping. It really, I don't have a deadline or a date.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping to have it for Thanksgiving.
Ooh. The perfect gift for the holiday season.
But before Christmas for sure is what I'm pushing for.
Okay.
Yeah. And it turned out, so the people who pre-read our book, there was several great people that decided they would read it first. And
I almost had access to a copy of that, and I was denied. I was denied.
I don't think denied is the right word.
I was not given permission.
I don't know about that.
I was not. I have not read it.
So
I wasn't allowed.
So it was about a 20,000 word manuscript at that point, and the final manuscript ended up 32,000 words.
Oh, so there's 12,000 additional bonus words.
Bonus words, and that became possible because of input from those pre-readers.
Ooh.
Who read it.
They should get a free copy.
They should.
Yeah.
And they might.
Ooh. Autographed?
Of course.
Of course.
But the
stamp the book with the cattle brand from the kitchen. Just.
But their input was so valuable that some areas that needed more explanation or needed more stories or needed more build out. So that's why I did that. I had 12 people read it, and I had 6 people read it first and give feedback. So that was part of the process that extended the time frame a little bit too, was letting people have time to read it, get back. So anyway, what else? Anything else?
Well, the last thing I want to, we've covered so much, but last thing I guess I'd leave your viewers with is, if you're interested, I do a marketing workshop in Rockwall a few times a year, and my final one's coming up next weekend on Saturday, November 18th. I don't know when this will be published or when people will be viewing it, but assuming that it's before Saturday, November 18th, it is the 18th, right? Yeah. So if you're watching this before November 18th and you'd like to learn more about marketing and practical things that you can do to lift up your business, we teach a terrific course at the Marriott near the harbor, and you can get tickets at epicjared.com. The other thing I'd like to say is that I have rented out AT&T Stadium for the world's largest Nerf battle. We didn't even touch on that today, and that's okay.
I was going to ask for you to finish out with that.
But one of the coolest things I've done is in 2016 I set a Guinness World Record, raising some money for charity and renting out AT&T Stadium to do what would become the world's largest Nerf war. And after that, it became an annual family tradition. Really, no plan of mine. It just kind of by popular demand. And now it's even extended to twice a year here in the DFW market because it's so popular. And so we're doing a holiday edition on Christmas Eve. So if you're one of the many people out there who's got almost nothing going on December 23rd, or you're sitting around the house with a bunch of bored family members just watching reruns or TV or whatever, maybe you want to come out and run around the field at AT&T Stadium and hang out in the locker room, take the tour. Or obviously participate in some fun Nerf battles, you can do that. And it's cheap. It's cheaper than taking a tour of the stadium, about $10 cheaper than it would cost you to go up to the stadium on a Wednesday and just walk in to take a boring tour.
It's probably cheaper than going to a fast food restaurant and buying a meal for $4.
Way cheaper, and we won't even charge you for parking either.
Wow.
And we're probably the only ticketed event at AT&T Stadium that's not going to add on another $20 or $30 just to park your car.
Yeah.
So I insist on free parking. We insist on low ticket costs, and it really is a terrific event. And you can find more information, photos, videos, and buy your tickets at blasterbattle.com. That's all I got to say.
Man, I thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Mr. Wells, and
Yeah,
thanks for
man.
letting us be a part of your story, and help the Wells Cattle team, go above and beyond. I would have never said yes or accepted any sort of responsibilities if I didn't first believe in you and believe in the product that you were trying to bring to market. And it's truly novel. It's truly unique, and that is one of the cool, critical components of something that can do really well. Is when you're not competing with anybody. Mm-hmm. You're just telling your story and doing your thing. There's no one else that makes a burger just like you, and that got me fired up to want to tell the story about it. And I'm really, really glad to have seen all the success over the last 5 years, and hopefully there's a lot more ahead.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, and we're so happy to be able to do that for the community and do it together with you guys.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy we got to do this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. And so I'm Lee Wells on the Ranch and Table podcast. And until next time, we say adios, farewell, goodbye, good luck, so long.